Now, nothing as serious as what we've just talked about here, which is the genuine fear and absolute preparation that is needed when it comes to coronavirus. But I just want to show you how each way Albo wants to absolutely posture and carry on to try to politicise coronavirus, yet isn't all that interested in knowing what Australia's about to do. I'll explain. First, you might have seen this in question time today, but you were probably busy.
The opposition, myself and the Shadow Health Minister, have at all times sought to be bipartisan about the coronavirus issue. That decency requires that there actually be a briefing to the opposition rather than just the Prime Minister stand up and make a statement to try and distract from his sports rorts debacle before he marches out of the parliament.
Now, I get it, opposition leaders will do everything they can, but this bloke is outright lying. I should also tell you what Anthony Albanese did today. While the National Security Committee of Cabinet was meeting to talk about what to do about coronavirus, they were interrupted not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 7 times, because the opposition was having pointless votes in the parliament to disrupt the government. And they specifically were told by the Prime Minister that that meeting was taking place. Now, when the numbers are as tight as they are in the parliament, what ends up happening is that the government goes to the opposition and says, look, can you take 2 of your people and get them not to vote because 2 of our people are too busy doing something else? The 2 who were too busy doing something today was the Prime Minister and the Health Minister. Instead, Albo and the smart alecs on the Labor side of things, they said no. And they interrupted 7 times the planning meeting that was happening today. And the planning meeting today wasn't just a bunch of politicians. It was the health officials telling people about how serious this is, what's the international community doing. This is the whole point of why you have a government. Here's the Prime Minister explaining today, and I guarantee nobody else will follow up on this today in Canberra.
We asked the opposition whether pairs could be provided for myself, the Health Minister, other House members of the National Security Committee, which meant that we'd be able to undertake that meeting uninterrupted. Sadly, that request was declined by the opposition, and they proceeded to go about their business, which resulted in 7 interruptions to that meeting today, at a time we were trying to plan for the impact of a global pandemic on the coronavirus. Well, they chose politics.
And each way Albo, that garbage that he was running around in the parliament today because he just wanted to find a way to say sports rorts, and most of the media, like the lemmings that they are, follow that away, can't possibly do 2 things at once. I'll get to sports rorts in a second, though. Small dent for those that think that this is about to bring the government apart. But he said, well, we'd like to get some briefings. We'd like to know what's happening behind the scenes rather than just learn about it with everyone else when he's at the dispatch box. Well, thank you, Greg Hunt, Health Minister, for doing this today publicly, which is name every single time the Labor Party has received a briefing about coronavirus, including one that was offered last night.
The 3rd of February, Senator Keneally, Senator Wong, Joel Fitzgibbon, Jim Chalmers. On the 4th of February, the Opposition Party Room. On the 12th of February, the Leader of the Opposition. Between the 12th and the 23rd of February, regular briefings with, in particular, the Shadow Health Minister's office. On the 24th of February, Shadow Health Minister Chris Bowen. And last night, a briefing for the Leader of the Opposition and Chris Bowen. I understand that at the last minute, the Leader of the Opposition was unable to attend.
So Albo, who complained today that he wasn't receiving briefings, was offered one last night at 7:30. However, he pulled out. Where was he last night at 7:30 in Canberra? Well, I'll show you, because one of his own backbench MPs tweeted at about the same time. He was meeting members of his favourite football team, because the National Rugby League was in Canberra yesterday to, in part, celebrate the start of their season. Each way Albo, trying to pretend that the government's not playing fair. They're not telling us what's happening behind the scenes when they are telling you what's behind the scenes. You could have known what was coming potentially today if you went to the meeting last night. But no, you had to go to the photo op with Sam Burgess. Each way Albo, a politician like all of them, but one who is absolutely shameless about how stupid he thinks you are.